What's up? How are you?
Hey, what's up, Zach?
Hey, the last few episodes I've recorded, I've had some people let me know that I didn't give an official intro to any of my guests.
You're
So,
learning.
yeah, it's new. So, for those of you listening, this is Andrew Charlesworth. He is head of all the Midwest affiliates with CrossFit HQ. He's been with CrossFit for a very long time. I believe you did my very first L1.
Where
Uh,
was that in? Was that at? Where was that at? Naptown?
No, so I did my very first one was at Rogue in
Okay,
Columbus.
that's a majority.
That was I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure you were there. 2000 I know you did Leah's first one.
I definitely, dude.
2014.
Rogue is if you did your level one at Rogue between 2013 and 2019, more than likely I did it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So, I believe on that coaching staff it was you, Doug Chapman, Joe DeGane, Julie Fouché. I mean, there was a whole like
Yeah, we
10
had a
people.
good crew. That was a great group. Like you just named a great group. We had a because like Julie at that time was probably still games bound,
Yeah,
and like it was always fun for us to work together because I was like a regional bound, but I thought Julie was just so cool with her game stuff and like she trained so freaking hard, man. I mean, I don't think a lot of people understand the discipline that Julie put in. I mean, she would
yeah,
come in before, work out at lunch, work out after, and just it was great. I loved watching that.
yeah. So why don't you give a little intro, an official intro before I met you back in 2014, and when I met you, you were doing the seminar staff. So what got you into CrossFit? A little bit about yourself and where
Yeah,
you are
man.
currently.
I am where I'm actually sitting right now is the origin. I'm at one of the biggest athletic clubs in I'm sorry, excluding Lifetimes, this is like a hospital owned athletic club. It's one of the biggest ones in the eastern half of the country that's not like a franchise or tied to a Lifetime or something. And so my wife was a personal trainer here, so not my wife at that time. That was like 2009, and she was just diced doing these goofy ass pull-ups. Might have even been '08. Like CrossFit was infant,
Right.
and I was just a meathead degenerate douche in a good way, not a terrible douche, but just like
Right.
bench press 365. I played college sports and I was just getting done, and I remember watching her doing this thing, and I'm like, what the hell is she doing?
Did you know her at the time? Like, were you guys dating,
No, I
married?
didn't.
Oh,
I
you're
did
just
not
looking at
know.
this chick across the room.
Yeah, yeah. I'm just looking at this chick and I'm like, that is legit. And then I saw her like back squatting, which is something I'm familiar with. I got into power lift, strongman, just like, the kind of stuff that everyone, maybe does post college sports, doesn't really know what they're going to do. And, and I finally went up to her. I'm like, hey, what do you do? And she's like, well, I'm doing CrossFit. And she was like, a guy just opened a gym in Grand Blanc where I'm at. His name's Joe DeGane. He's a seminar staff trainer. None of this made sense to me. So I was like, cool. I will go check it out. And I went to Joe's gym. He just opened and did Fran, much like most people do. I was so confused, dude. So confused. And just like wanting to throw up. And he's trying to talk to me. I did it with 95, but I did it with jumping pull ups. Great skill by him because it's like, well, the guy can do the weight, holding the thruster right here. And I was just like any other CrossFit store, I was hooked after that. So that led me down the rabbit holes. I tried to make the regionals in 2012 and I just missed it. They took 60 back then, and I was 67th. And I didn't redo any of the workouts. I didn't really know that at that time. And Jen, my wife, well, not at that time, but now, and Joe made it. And then we sent a team back then. Um, and then 2013, 2014, I continued to do the individual, and that was cool. It was only cool because we're opposite ends of the spectrum. You're not the tallest guy in the world, but I am. So
Right.
it was just like seeing a dinosaur out there. My favorite thing, I think, one person watching at regionals one year, I think it was 2014 because it was much bigger in 2014. I got done. I think I got last in the workout, And I got done, and this dude comes up to me. He's like, "Man, that was great, dude. Good job." And I said, "Well, I got last." And he's like, "Yeah, but you're so huge. It's just weird, you know." And I'm like, "Thanks, appreciate it."
Yeah.
So
Yeah, there was a time
started
back
it.
then, I feel like if you could move some weight, like, you were
Yeah,
making it to regionals, right? Like,
yeah.
people weren't
You had to
strong
just
enough
like
yet in the CrossFit world, so if you can move some weight
no,
and you could sit on a rower, you're good.
yeah. And it was weird because they have found a unique way to like really balance it out. People can hate on the games all they want, but it's a lot to test to truly say we're going to test and find the fittest in the world. So I interned seminar staff in 2012. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I believe it or not, I had debated on playing overseas basketball. Like that was like kind of something I wanted to do. Every kid who plays basketball comes where I've come from, thinks they're going to make the NBA and yada yada. But so after college, I want to do that, and then but I decided I'm like I don't know what I want to do. So I became a personal trainer here because they knew me from growing up. I've been coming here my whole life, and then so I was working here, coaching at 810 CrossFit, and I was like, I'm going to try out for the seminar staff thing, and they were just cutting people left and right, like left and right. Two of our trainers got cut, and somehow I made it, and I was like, holy shit. Um, so that started there. It's a good place to stop.
And that was 2013
Yep.
when you joined the seminar staff,
Yep.
and then you continued doing that until when did you open up your gym?
2015.
Okay.
Right when I was done competing, we decided to open up gym, and I got married to that same girl we've been talking about in 2015.
Yeah.
Um, so got married, opened up a gym, everything right at once.
Is she on the seminar staff? Was she?
She was absolutely. She
Yeah.
started with the CrossFit Kids seminar staff, and then she did
Oh,
start doing level ones and level twos. And once she we had our first kid, she started to do a few of the online ones. And then I went all alpha male mode on like, let's just have me work and have you, be a
yeah.
mom. That's what you want to do. And there's definitely some pride in that. So I hope your member, I know a lot of your members probably listen to this. If you are a stay at home mom and you're getting your 1 hour a day at the gym, you are a champion. And
Sure.
there is no one else who can do your job as good as you. So every day you wake up and you don't, maybe you just are like exhausted because of kids or this or that. Like, good for you for getting your 1 hour in.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, so you're going alpha mode. Is this when so you opened the gym in 2015,
Yep.
and was it just you? Did you have some coaches? You and your wife doing it? What'd
Me,
that look
her, and
like?
then I did start with one coach. So me, one coach, and my wife, and I started exactly how every gym should still start today if you're going grassroots. 2 classes, one in the morning, one at night,
Yeah.
because you're going to get pneumonia, you're going to have a sprained ankle, something's going to happen, and you have to at least have someone else. And if you start to build your gym immediately and it's just you, just know that that's what your members are always going to be used to, is just you. So um, that's exactly how we started.
Nice. And then, so now, do you still own that gym? You
I
still own
do.
that
Yep.
gym, the same gym that you opened up.
Same gym. Yeah, we moved once or twice. It's tough right now. Just like every owner, is a lot of owners, especially I talk to you all the time. They're dealing with rising rents, and you know we're a different style of business. We're half church, half business, half trying to control inflation, even though we can't. Like it's tough out there right now for affiliates. So I completely empathize with everything that's going on.
Yeah. So fast forward after you open the affiliate, you're still on seminar staff, and now you've introduced this new role. Not introduced, you've been introduced into this new role for the last couple of years, and now
Yep.
you're in charge of all the affiliates in the Midwest.
Yeah,
So
man, the
what's
vibe.
so what's that? So are you now off seminar staff and you're doing just
I
that
I'm
full time?
technically not technically not yet. I probably will be. I have not worked a seminar in person in probably 2 years. So it's challenging because I sit kind of do these things all day, and I am a full-time employee for CrossFit. So it's not a contracting position when it comes to this role. There's 6 of us in the US. So, I don't really have the time or bandwidth or to leave my family to do the seminar. It's something I miss every single day, though. I mean, I miss that. I don't even know what they're like currently right now. I almost just want to hit one to be like, what do they even, what's 2025 look like? I don't even have any idea. But this job does require a lot, and we have a lot of pressure, a lot of responsibility. So, yeah.
Yeah. When you were teaching, I would say that the level 1 now is just as awesome as it was back in 2015. It's the same
Nice.
content, same thing. At least the ones that I've seen recently, they've been great. We host them here, quite a bit. Like if no one's taken their level 1, like what's one thing that you would describe why everyone should go and get their level 1? Because I feel like a lot of people, they say, oh, well, I don't know if I want to be a coach, or I'm like, everyone should go and take their level 1. Like everyone, if they have a chance, they need to go and take it. And so for someone that's been on the staff teaching, all these people who are super passionate about CrossFit, what would you say to someone who wants to just go and learn what's the L1 all about?
Dude, that's a great, and it's tough because it was labeled obviously like level 1 trainer. Everybody thinks the word trainer, but truly the level 1 is an indoctrination of the culture of the, who we are and what we do. I truly wish, maybe it was like level CrossFit. And then if you wanted to open a gym, you had to do the level 1, et cetera, et cetera. If some butts and cherry nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas. So there's no going back. But if you are a CrossFitter, someone who lives and breathes this, it's changed your life, and it's never going to, even if you step away from CrossFit, I want to try this, I want to start running or lifting, you're going to know where you know something that others don't know. That's what's challenging. You can't really erase this thing. You can't erase it. I see people all the time. They're like, I don't do CrossFit anymore. I'm like, why the fuck are you doing a thruster? And I know it's just, they're like, well, that's, CrossFit doesn't own a thruster. I'm like, I know, but come on, like, let's be honest. Why are you going full range of motion? Why are you extending your arms overhead? And those are all the things that we go over why it's important in the level 1. Like, you don't have to care that much about the line of action of the shoulder press if you're never going to teach it. But when you're seeing someone of expert teach it and digestible information, like we're literally beaten into submission to do, not literally, but like there's no one who gets more feedback than the level 1 trainers. That's why they're so good at their job. You understand why. That way Zach doesn't have to be like, hey, lock your arms out. If you did the level 1, you'd be like, I totally understand why I'm doing this.
Right. Yeah. And then, so what's the big difference between the level 1 and the level 2? Like, what would you say?
So the reason that, like, people listening to this, you're an owner, you're at a minimum required. Do you have your level 3? I forgot.
I do. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So you're in a different camp. You're in the top 1% of coaches, but the level 2, the reason that we're actually requiring gyms to do the level 2 is because it's from the affiliates. The affiliates' feedback said, I don't want a bunch of these gyms to be garbage. They're like, bad gyms give CrossFit a bad name. Only way we can validate efficacy of changing that is if we kindly force you to, at a minimum, do the level 2. Because if you do that, we know you've went through extreme feedback on how you deliver the movements of CrossFit, how you teach, see, correct, what you're bringing to the table. And there is nothing in those 2 days that are going to put you in a more uncomfortable situation if you've never been in something like that, but also you'll leave there not only better, but wanting to get better. It's all about coaching. So if someone's like, oh, I love the level 1 because of the passion and the content on that, like, the level 2 is not necessarily for you, it's for the coaches.
Right. Yeah. Do you think, looking back, do you think that CrossFit should have required the level 2 at the beginning?
Yeah, everybody's always talked about those sorts of things. Yes and no, because how it started is such a small, like, you're such a small business, and we want to have the lowest barrier of entry of, like, you needed insurance, you needed to apply for affiliation and pay for affiliation. That was it. And then
Right.
it's like, poof, on your own, figure it out. I I kind of wish we would have done things that like I'm doing right now with the rep role and like having a little bit more communication and connection. I wish that was maybe done from the beginning, because right now half of people are very receptive. And then there's, the other half people who are like, don't talk to me. I don't need anything from you. Don't tell me what to do. And it's like, I'm definitely not going to tell you what to do. But we're here to offer some sort of guidance and at least like a framework of communication.
Yeah. Yeah. And after the level one, I feel like a lot of people come out of there with a lot of passion, and passion is essentially what starts every single one of these businesses. And now you get to hear the other end of it, and there's some struggles when it comes to
Yeah.
the business. What do you think that the biggest struggle is? I mean, we've talked about this a lot, but what do you think the biggest struggle is that most CrossFit gyms are having when it comes from that level one, they take their level two, boom, they open up a gym?
Yeah. I have a buddy who used to coach at a CrossFit gym, and he, there's always CrossFit gym drama. That
Right.
owners or this or that, like, so there's things that maybe have happened, and he ended up, building a big online presence. When I say big, I mean not you're not going to know who he is or anything, but just like he's a very good trainer. He knows fitness very well, studies it, high levels of nutrition, and that's where he kind of started. And so the other day, like, I was talking to him about, he was asking me about a gym and XYZ, and then like I just told him our rent, and he's like, well, if I want to, validate paying 60 grand a year to have a
Yeah.
space, I gotta like first understand what I'm doing right now in my garage, in my home, online. Like I'm now at a liability of 60 grand a year. And I'm like, you're absolutely right, buddy. Like, you're absolutely right. So I don't think people understand that just because you're passionate, it's going to take you so far, but you're now on a liability of the, of rent, of income, like of providing a service. So I think the biggest mistake people make is they start too big now without understanding the risk.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense. It's just like, but I do see a lot of people. So don't like, people will come with a business plan. I got an investor. I'm going to go XYZ. I've already met with a mentor before. I'm like, and they're going big. Yeah, they can do really, really, really well too. So it's like, you got to figure out who you are. Are you just a grassroots, like, I don't know, man. I'm starting out of my garage. Even I don't even know if people do that right now. But like, I'm starting in the low income. Like some rainwater in the ceiling type shit, and I'm gonna slowly build it from there. Or am I gonna try to start and compete with the Orange Series of the world or the CrossFit gym that's like everything shiny and nice down the street? Like, you got to decide who you are and where you fit in.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, when I started CrossFit, I was in my garage, just
Did
like
you
a
start your
lot of us.
affiliate in your garage?
No, no. So I started my affiliate. I had when I got the actual documentation, I had one squat rack, a couple wall balls, one barbell, a set of weights. Everyone lined up, did their back squats. The heaviest guy, he was in the back, and we just, rotated. I don't think I
Yeah.
would get away with that now.
No,
You know,
no,
I mean,
but
there's
but
no
you met
way.
the time.
Yeah,
You met the time of the, like, you met the culture and timing of where it was at. You could get away with that back then. You cannot get away with that today.
no. If I had a
You
squat
can get
rack
away with
and a
the small
barbell, no.
things.
Yeah,
Yeah. So you did a good job.
yeah, no. I think now these are just things that go in my head, and we talk about all the time. But have they ever discussed maybe like levels of affiliates? Like, hey, I have a garage affiliate, so I'm a
Yeah.
level one affiliate. And now let's say I'm a level three trainer with 8 coaches, and
Yeah.
we've been around for 10 years. And now we're a level 4 or 5 affiliate. And so then people kind of know what to expect when they go into specific affiliates. Or is this
Pretty
just
much
me daydreaming?
everything's been discussed. Everything's been
Yeah.
discussed. And then there's pros and cons of literally everything. And that's why a lot of people like, oh, if I was in the driver's seat, I'd do XYZ. I'm like, totally, I get it. And no one has more opinions in the company than me, for sure. But I understand when it's like, all right, we're not going to go into that because it's like risk reward, and there's so many things that can go wrong. Like let's just say the garage affiliate, for example. When I have a garage affiliate culture, garage, garage, garage. Well, then now we have to know that you're not cheating the system, saying you're a garage and you actually have XYZ, you're paying a different affiliation, or like we would need to see the transactions of your
Oh yeah.
members and somehow like there's so many things that people don't think about when it comes to that. So it's like same thing with not for profit. That's a tough one too. It's like not for profit truly would mean you need to be like a perfect not-for-profit example is a firehouse, or at a police station, or sometimes school things where it's just school faculty on site. Like we can't have, there's a lot of gray area even there. So we've done a good job over the last couple of years of making sure those things are with the not-for-profit. But yeah, it's like there's so many people that would be like, I just want to open a nonprofit gym. I don't even charge people. I just want people to come and like have fun. It's like, cool, can't do that.
Right.
Because at some point there's going to be some money, you're paying rent, like there's bills. It's just, it doesn't work.
Yeah. Yeah. So when it comes to you, just, in your role or whatever, obviously your fitness has changed in your role, probably. You're not competing at regionals or semifinals anymore. And now you've got a few kids. Just as a dad, I've interviewed a couple moms now, but like from a dad's perspective, how do you look at CrossFit fitness? Like, what's that look like in a different role, going from a super competitive person from basketball to CrossFit to affiliate owner? Now your dad, what's that look like?
Dude, that's a good question. It's I like if I ever started a program thing, I've thought about it before just for fun. But like I have a concept of, it's called the hardcore casual concept, where it's like the workouts because my mental bandwidth's low, my timing is low, but fitness, because as you just so we talk about in the level one, once again, once you become fit, you don't just fall off the face of the earth. You don't. I mean, it takes a literal lifetime for you doing nothing to slowly go back to sickness, applying you're coming from sickness. So I'm still fit of like weird thing. Like, am I going to snatch 280 again what's scary to think in this life, on this 100 years, whatever I have, I probably maxed out my genetic. I can't say I maxed it out, but I am not going to snatch 285. I do not, unless I give up some other things and put extra hours into mobility again. And like, no, I do not have that time or things, but I like to be fit still, whether it's in the open or throw down a local comp or just invite a dude to work out with me and smash him, or even try to smash members in the gym for fun.
Right.
So what does that look like? I do a shit ton of ergs with stuff. I program for myself a majority of the time. A lot of times they have like a CrossFit-ish area. It's not CrossFit affiliate, but they have everything you would need over there. And I will just like get on a Echo for 5 minutes. And in that 5 minutes, I'll decide a few movements of what I want to do and then volume of that. And normally I want the workout to be about 30 minutes, but that doesn't mean the intensity, like it might be 30 minutes, but the intensity is very high. So obviously it's going to be rest intervals in there. Or I might go 30 straight minutes and boom. Or it's like, all right, I know 205 squat clean for sets of 3 kind of gets me. I want to do 30 reps. So one thing I always go back to 15 calories in the Echo, 1 round of strict Cindy, and then like 3 squat cleans. And I'll do, I know it's sucks, but sometimes it becomes a little bit of I'll do that once a week. People hear that and they're like, oh shit, that's a routine. I'm like, no, there's different, variance is life.
Right.
So that's what my training looks like. It looks more like low thought, high wattage. There we go.
When did that come into play in your life? Was it when you became a dad? Because I talk about this with people all the time because, we track in our app, right? We use Beyond the Whiteboard and we track in the app and people track their percentages and they see this growth. And then randomly one day something will happen, their life changes, their work schedule changes, something happens, and we're just not going to see those numbers right now, you
Yeah.
know? And from a competitive side, it's pretty easy. Like, hey, I'm no longer competing. Like, so now my
Yep.
fitness is going to be a little bit lower than what it was. But just talking to the everyday average dad, what's good enough to say I did what I needed to do today?
Yeah.
Does that make
Well,
sense?
it does. And what I look at it is like, um, there's certain things that are smart. So if you're that person you just talked about, assuming at one point you were maybe competitive or you had these lifts that were high and now, life change, you became a parent, job change, you still have it in there and you need to respect and honor that, but not touch it again. If I think too hard about what I used to deadlift for a set of 5, I'm like, dude, I am so far away from that. It's not even funny. Now, if ego really got in the way and whatever, I could probably like pick up 500 pounds, but more than likely I'd tear a bicep. Now, here's why, because I don't lift like that anymore. My nervous system, my neurological system will kind of remember it. Now, can I do 50, 60 reps of 2.25 in a workout? Yeah, I can. I'm going to be a little sore. It's probably high volume, but so I look at it that way. It's like, am I still doing 225 for sets of 10? Or the other day I did a workout. I'm like, I need a deadlift. I think I did 275 for 3 sets of 15 in the workout somewhere. It was a longer one, but like, so, and I kept them 2 sets. I think one set was 15, one set was like 8 and 7, then one set was 10 and 5. So it's like, okay, it's in there. That's
Right.
safe enough. Didn't feel great, but it's about half of what I used to deadlift for a set of 5. So I don't know. Like that's what I think you need to respect and honor is like, don't let your 225 power clean feel that bad. Make it good technique. Make it feel really, really good. Don't worry that you're not doing 315 all the time anymore. Every once in a while, maybe touch 275 just for fun, maybe a single, but don't worry, but still the medium to lower percentage weights, if you keep those in touch, you're not going to become a less badass as you age.
Right.
You coach a lot of masters, right? I mean, I'm sure I'm kind of speaking a little bit in your wheelhouse.
I mean,
You
a
coach
little bit.
competitive masters.
Yeah, I have one really competitive masters, but then I would say that we have a decent amount over the age of 35.
Yep.
And but
35 is dangerous, dude. I'm telling you,
35 is
35
real
to 40
dangerous.
it's dangerous, man. It's like doing weird stuff and because you're not old enough to not think that way, but your body is starting to like question itself.
Yeah. Yeah, and even outside the competitive realm, we have a decent amount of people who really enjoy being fit at the gym and they really enjoy
Mm-hmm.
working out and they take fitness seriously, um, or their health seriously, which is what we want. But when they start CrossFit, everything's measurable, right? So we
Mm-hmm.
measure everything. And so it's easy to measure lifts. It's easy to measure a 400-meter run. It's easy to measure, your Fran time. But then there's this time that happens to where it's like you're not going to PR your Fran time and you're not going to PR your deadlift every time. And I feel like there's this gray area that's very hard to explain to people when they're like, well, that was the day that I deadlifted 500 and I'm just not going to anymore. Like it's a
Yeah.
hard because they have no way of measuring that anymore. And so
Yeah.
they're like, okay, well, am I doing 70%? Am I doing 85%? Am I just picking up 135? Like what's that look like?
Yeah. And what does it matter to you? Right.
Right.
Like, so for me, I've went through, I think every person should go through call it therapy, call it growth, call it anything like that. And like, I've tied positive emotions to training and I've buried negative, painful things in training too. So there's kind of like, I'm the classic guy that I don't take rest days and they're not healthy for me. They're not, I'm not saying I'm intensity every day or even remotely close to what I used to do. But like even today, for example, um, I was okay, a little bit giddy, and so I had my kids at the freaking, there's like a kid thing here. So your members will love this. Like, so there's like a drop off your kids thing here. So sometimes
Yeah.
I just bring him here. I'll do micro versions of work, but I don't normally start my day till 11. So I'm like half-ass working. I'm like a little stressed because the one was screaming and had some other shit on my mind. And I'm like, all right, I'm just going to get on a bike. But then, so for me, I need more measurable data than that, unfortunately. And probably as if you're a CrossFit athlete, you need more. So I have a Garmin. So I started my heart rate, and I'm like, I have a weird heart rate, so don't take this, but like me being at 108 to 115 beats a minute, that's like my zone 2. So it's I'm like, can I pedal and do freaking emails and getting on my trainer tracker and doing all this weird stuff? Can I do it for an hour? And like get zone 2 working, because my wife and I always complain, like, what would we want? We'd always talk about what would we want ideally out of our training that we're not getting now. And both of us would want a long zone 2 day. But I'm like, so I ended up only getting 30 minutes. Something happened, but at least it was 30 minutes and it was measurable. I'll actually tell you, I think my average heart rate on it was 110 or 108, which is perfect. Like there was no damage done to my body, but mentally I felt a little bit better. I felt like something was accomplished.
So you don't take a rest day? Seven days a week, typically something.
If I'm taking a rest day, it has something to do with the kids or whatever. But intentionally, I try to work out, and I do jujitsu twice a week. So sometimes if I sneak in there, it's very easy if you're a CrossFit person, you're just starting that, to go way too hard, and you will count that as a workout 1,000%. But hopefully you come out there uninjured. So like, yeah, I don't like rest days whatsoever. They don't.
Yes, I started a challenge. I don't know if you saw it on Instagram, but over the years, I've been trying to figure out how to hold people accountable in the gym through. We've done nutrition challenges. We've done 6-week challenges. We've done 90-day challenges. We've done row so many meters in a month. Do like all these challenges, right? And if there's 150 people that are like, yeah, let's do this.
Yeah.
Like 3 to 10 of them follow through with it, because I'm telling everyone, hey, we're all starting on the same day and we're ending on the same day. And it just never seems to really work. So at the beginning of this year, I'm finishing up like 75 hard, which is just, 2 45-minute workouts a day. And I noticed that the consistency of doing something every single day was more beneficial to just intentionally do something and move than it was to say, I need to do X, Y, and Z. I need to hit this many macros. I need to do this. I need to do that. I haven't tracked a single workout, and I say track, like I haven't typed it in beyond the whiteboard. And when it comes to running, I set a timer for 45 minutes and I go out, I come back, and I don't type it in. I didn't track my food, but the consistency was way better. So what I've done with the gym is I put in beyond the whiteboard, there's a track, and it's 45 minutes of movement daily. So whether they hit the gym, they go to Planet Fitness and run on the treadmill, they are on vacation and they hit a gym workout, so they can just hit 45 minutes every day. And I'm trying it different. I know it's against, a lot of what we've done in the past, or even the Commitment Club. I love the Commitment Club, but the Commitment Club, I pulled a report before the Commitment Club and after the Commitment Club, and it was the same amount of people, because if you don't make it to the gym, they weren't coming in to the gym. But I don't know where I was going.
So for that, you know what? No, I like where you're going with that. I'm going to say something that you probably can't say owning a gym. So 75 hard commitments, extreme, right? There's like, I do a lot of, being a dad. It's my dad passed away when I was really young. My mom unfortunately passed away in the last year, and there's a lot of things I look at. And one thing that I know personally, I always gravitated towards my coaches for male bonding, camaraderie. I would do anything for a coach. If a coach said, hey, Andrew, I want you to fricking run your head through a wall, consider it done. That caused a lot of pressure and anxiety in my life, though. At some point during my basketball career, and those things still stay with me I would get so hyped up, not sleep, and I couldn't perform. And then there were times where I was so relaxed in a different mindset that I would literally go fucking dominate. Like the reason I got my first scholarship, I was going to go to a much smaller university, and I'm in the Flint, Michigan. So my high school's in Flint, Michigan, and there was they used to call it the Flint City Schools versus the Big Nine. So the Big Nine was the conference I was in, where we were a little bit of suburbs, I was at the Catholic school. So so Big Nine versus Flint City. Now Flint City, you're talking back then, high level D1, athletes going everywhere because it's a basketball city. Big Nine, we had a ton of people too going to college, and I like worked out earlier in the day. It was an all-star game. So I didn't really care, I didn't have to honor a coach. Like I'm just going there, and I had 38 points. We lost at the buzzer, and that school where it was held is the best junior college in the country. They had just won the national championship, and he offered me a full ride. And that day, right after that game, and I was like, everything I ever did came down to just that, technically. So I'm going somewhere with this. What I want people to understand of what you said about like 75 hard and whatever is there are a lot of people who are unhealthy who lost the liberty to be unstrict. What I mean by that is you need 75 hard. You need to do something so extreme, David Goggins-ish, that it snaps you out of whatever you've done your entire life or whatever. And I agree that the David Goggins approach sometimes is that way. Who's going to move the boats, get extreme. But there's a flip flop to that, probably more where you're at, Zach, if I'm being honest. It's what's moderation? What does moderation look like? Because in his mind, F moderation, I'm going to go run. Who's going to carry the boats? I'd always go back to that one. But what does the other side look like? Because that doesn't go forever. So what the other side looks like to me is I'm going to train every day. I'm going to give myself grace and honor to have times in my life where I'm fitter, have times in life where I'm less fit, and be accepting of that. I'm never going to accept laziness, sloth, anything like that. Am I going to track my food as crazy as I used to? No, but I'm probably going to eat less because I'm getting older. Why do I need 3,500 calories anymore? I don't. Right. So, there's just like things in moderation that moderation is hard. It's hard to do when you've been through extreme things or so much. You need to do a good job of moderation.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's what I'm shooting for in this challenge is not. It's really like they can start tomorrow, they can start in a week, they can start whenever. It's just try to build up as many days as you can by just doing some movement. And we're not doing twice a day. We're not doing, it's just like, hey, do some movement, go for a walk, do something, right? And just get in the habit of doing some sort of movement every single day, whether that's CrossFit or it's walking your dog, right?
Well, it's the 10K steps thing. A lot of people don't look into this 10K steps study. There was obviously the study on longevity, and you can really go look into it. And there's nothing like magic about 10K, et cetera. It's just anecdotally, people who are 10K is a specific amount of miles and distance that put enough stress cardiovascular on the body. If you're just moving that much throughout the day, that was kind of where the study came from, right? So, we'll see, how many steps am I going to hit today? I might hit 10K out of nowhere, but I did that bike, right? So like, ideal, there's no steps on that bike, but like if I don't hit 10K, it's 9,000, whatever, that bike's going to bump me over. Now, if I did literally nothing all day and I had 3K steps in a day, I'm going to feel anxious. There's going to be the little David Goggins that I buried that comes back up to my throat and be like, dude, you need to try to do a quick 10-minute walk or something. And that's appropriate.
Right. Let's fast forward just a little bit to CrossFit now, CrossFit in the future. What's CrossFit look like to you right now, and what's it look like in the next 5 years?
I'm an investor.
Back in 2015, so 2015, You know, it was like, I would say that 2015 to 2017 was like the boom of CrossFit. And it was like this big mesh between competition CrossFit and the affiliates. And like everyone was just this big, giant culture, right? Now everyone knows what CrossFit is. I think everyone always will, you know, and so I think CrossFit's in a great spot. You know, you're in the middle of CrossFit right now. Like, how would you just describe the community and the culture and everything going on?
That's a big loaded question.
It
Be as
was.
short-winded as I can, but
It's fun.
you know, I'm an investor. We talk about stuff all the time. I know you do some things too. So it's like there's bear markets. There's, you know, invest now. Like, look at this: gold, Bitcoin, anything. You know, you have runs in anything, and like, I think you're right. I think the peak of CrossFit so far, what we've seen was, you know, 2015 to 17, the game. You had all this stuff, but CrossFit, if the world ended today, boom, 2025 was it. It's over. CrossFit would go down as probably the most revolutionary thing that's happened in fitness in the last 200 years. I mean, that's a big statement, but I'm going to say it's the truth. The methodology, what it's done, how it brought measuring back to fitness with functional movements, how it
Yeah.
brought all different types, but it was able to define it, how we defined fitness. It's better than the Webster's dictionary. You know, there's all those things. So like, it ain't going away. And people who
Right.
just think that's going away, what's it going to? You know, you tell me, you have
Yeah.
CrossFit knockoffs, you have this, you have that. Oh, this league's coming out. More people are doing high rocks. They're doing, and, you know, and all that stuff. I say, cool. Like, let it happen. Let it run its course. Let people do their thing, and it'll drive more people to CrossFit because it's a different way. I mean, I'm still in this gym. Their budget for equipment, $250,000 or more of things that kind of matter. But I've seen over the years, why do they have this big functional fitness area now? It's CrossFit. Yeah, there's a
Right.
powerlifting thing back there. There wouldn't have been a powerlifting team without CrossFit. You know, like all so if people want to bet against that because of our lack of media, I think we're in a phase of figuring out that who we are and how we speak to people. Because the old school media, you know, people on YouTube or whatever, like they still have the most views, and they're gonna tell you CrossFit's dead because of XYZ and yada yada, and but it's just, you know, it's not real. But we don't have anyone, occasionally me on accident, going back at them, but it's not enough, you know, or
Yeah.
me and Chase Ingram just talking crap. It's not going to be enough. And but it's mainly for the affiliates, right? What does CrossFit, you know, puffing their chest out, doing whatever, what does that do for the affiliates except get you guys behind something that's like, yeah, all right, I'm behind something, but that behind something doesn't matter. The goal is to bring more people to you. We want more people to come to 9 degrees, you know,
Right.
like that's the hard part. And it's like, all right, let's do the jugs in the nursing home thing. Remember that, you know, or like standing up with the water jug. All right, that's a bit too far this way. All right, let's just freaking go back and say we're the most elite thing and post bloody pictures and, you know, where is the balance? Right.
Right.
It's the same thing we just kind of talked about. So I think we're trying to find the balance. I still think that there can be a little more grit. You know, I'm a big Dan Campbell Lions fan. I don't know if you guys are out there. Probably everyone's a Lions fan at this point, but there needs to be a little more grit element of like, it's okay to say that just cardio will not get you the body that you want.
Yeah.
It's okay to say, you know, it might be okay from times to say like taking an Ozempic shot isn't healthy.
Right.
Well, you can't say that because that's too broad. Once again, that's the old school guy in me, right? Like,
Yeah.
no, that is healthy for people who maybe are overweight and are looking, you know, pre-diabetics. Now, is there a safer way? Is there a more instead of a pill or an injection or something, is there a better way? Yeah, go to 9 degrees. But it's going to take you way longer. It's going to be way harder. It's going to change your
Right.
life, though.
For
You
sure.
know?
Yeah, I like that. Your we've got about maybe 5-10 minutes.
Yeah.
And I got to bring it up. Your Twitter account, Bitcoin.
Oh man. Yeah.
What
I think
what
it's
is
crazy.
what
Are
is
you
that?
on X?
It's barely.
Oh, I think
Barely.
right
You
now
just
I
share it.
post.
you just share it on
Yeah.
Instagram, and I'm like, is this like Bitcoin Fit? Like, what it popped
No.
up,
So
and I said,
yeah.
oh, he's
So
sharing his own Twitter account, and he is.
yeah.
I don't even
I'm
know what it is.
technically technically I'm like an alias on there, but
You're not doing a very
I don't know,
good
man.
job at that.
Yeah, well, I bring my workouts back to Instagram because I'm
Oh,
rarely
okay.
on Instagram. I
Okay.
don't I I if someone says they've mastered something, the first thing to do is run away. So if someone heard this and they ran away, like there's elements of fitness or exercise physiology and things like that that I've literally mastered. And I will go head to head or toe to toe with anyone on them, but I'm bored. It's boring to me because it's been something I've been so deeply interested in for so long. So what tends to happen is you try to learn something new and try to do something new. And I got really interested in finance, but mainly applying it to how I applied fitness. There's certain elements and things that are carryover, health and yeah, you have to take some risks, right? Like people are annoyed if they didn't buy Bitcoin in 2000, whatever. And I'm like, well, I look at that as doing snatch balances. There can be some huge benefit, right? But you can also fuck yourself up. Are we, what is this PG? What are we
Yeah,
doing?
yeah, you're good.
It's
You're
already
good.
over. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, you're good.
You can fuck yourself up very bad, right? Especially if
Yeah,
you don't know anything about snatch balance. You're doing it with shitty technique. You're doing too much weight because you're trying to impress someone. Doing it. So like, there's so many parallels that can go into learning and taking risks and et cetera. So we used to say in the level one, I'm trying to dig this one up, safety, efficacy, and efficiency, right? We talk about a pull-up program that'll get you 100 pull-ups. And it'll take 7 days. 85% of people die. Are you going to do it? There's a pull-up program, gets you 100 pull-ups, takes you 90 years. Are you going to do it? No, we got to find somewhere in the middle. And I think with finance, there's so many parallels that come over with that. Taking risks, being smart. And so my X account, what did I don't even know when I named it Crypto Fit, because a lot of stuff for
yeah,
finance was on X and is on X faster and still to this day. And so then I started to build it, and people started coming to me for finance stuff, mainly in the crypto industry, and then a small sector of high yield dividend investing, which is fairly new. People are going to say it has been around forever, like not like it since 2020. So I taught myself a lot about those things, and I have like a community on there, like 1,000 people, literally just we're kind of talking about funds and stuff and like that every day. So I'm randomly post my workout so I can see it, but it's funny to see all these finance
yeah.
guys and crypto people. They're like commenting on, dude, that's cool. What's an EMOM? It's funny because they have no concept. I'm like, oh, actually, whatever.
So you're real big into crypto, like Bitcoin,
Yeah, yeah,
like huge. How would you
yeah. I
explain?
would say,
Leah and I
yeah.
were talking about the other day, and she's like, "Can you explain what is Bitcoin? Like, explain it to me." I'm like, "I don't know. I'll ask
I
Andrew when
mean,
I
no,
bring him on."
it's the same thing about what is CrossFit with people. It just depends on who you ask, how it's digestible to you. I sometimes the easiest way, it's perfect money, because money is very, very flawed. It's got so many holes. The fact that, obviously money can be printed, and it started to fail when we came off of the gold standard. And I'm not like the first to say that. I don't think it's like revolutionary. And you see why. It was backed by nothing. I'm sorry, it was backed by something. And now that something is backed by absolutely nothing. People are going to say, like, it's backed by the US government and guns. Like, okay, sure. But how much do you trust on all these things? So it's perfect money because it's a mathematical uh, eighth wonder of the world of how they did it, with how the block reward halving works, how there's a limited supply, and how people are willing to pay for it. So people are willing to pay for scarcity,
Yeah,
and it's the scarcest thing on the planet, and it's incorruptible. It's incorruptible. The way a lot of times people are like, "Oh, quantum computing could get to a spot where it could go," and Michael Saylor is like the Bitcoin godfather, who owns the company MicroStrategy, and he explains it very well. Like the amount of energy that it would take to be able to do something like that with the coding that's involved, even with quantum computing, would take, I think it was like 6 times around the Earth or something, in an energy source of like he put a thing on it. Like, it would take this amount of energy, and he literally went around the world with it 6 times just to break one block. Like, so it's not ever going to happen, because whoever did it was literally, it's a genius way of how they programmed perfect money. And it was a result, obviously, of the crash of '09. It's '08 or '09, forget at this point.
Oh wait.
Yep.
So if someone were to invest right now, like, I'm not asking you for financial advice right now.
Yeah.
I'm saying, like, if I got
Yeah.
on and said, "Oh, I'm gonna get Bitcoin," because I listened to this podcast with Zach and Andrew talking CrossFit and finances, but
sometimes it's the way to
like,
go.
is it like that? The whole, I don't know. I used to be in network marketing. The earlier you got in, the more money you made, right?
So like Ponzi scheme type thing.
Yeah, sort of.
I mean, there's people right now. I had a chance in 2012. I was talking to a guy about mining back in 2012. Now people are like, I mean, a couple cents at that point for Bitcoin. But you got to think, who's going to emotionally be able to hold that many years when they see it go from 13 cents to $300? You're going to be like, I'm rich, I'm selling this thing. It's because to learn the fundamentals of it, I mean, it's truly a university level thing to be able to comprehend. So much you can learn about, but then you have to finally comprehend it and understand it. So that's where I'm at. Like, I get grown men right now calling me who I know in their 50s, be like, dude, I'm thinking about taking out my retirement and throwing in Bitcoin. I tell them, don't do that. My God. They're like, yeah, but what if it goes, or it seems like with Trump coming in, it's gonna, and I'm like, and they're like, well, what do you think it'll go to? I'm like, well, it's supposed to work. It'll be in the millions. And they're like, well, why would I then? And I'm like, but you don't know. It's not going to just get there like that. There's going to be so many things in the world that happen. Like, technically the price should go down. If the economy gets better, the price should go down, because the purchasing power of the dollar should go up. Right. So you should feel wealthier, right? If Bitcoin's $13 million, it's only going to feel like 900,000 in today's world. That's what it would feel like. So the price only reflects the purchasing power of the dollar and how we value money too. So that's where people, like, they always say one Bitcoin's one Bitcoin. That's how it operates. $1 is going to be worth way more. $1 is a $20 bill now.
And then,
like, you know how that works.
What, Ethereum? What's that? What's that at right now? $3,000?
Oh, Ethereum's about to dance. That's what I always say I mean, it's going to dance pretty soon, because these things happen in waves. And if you've been through what's called a cycle, a 4-year thing, I've been through a few, you see the cycles, and all you do is hit your head and you're like, I knew this was going to happen. Why didn't I? It's because you're scared. It's emotionally, it's very hard to do. Ethereum is, if Bitcoin's a store of value. Ethereum was created because it's mainly a way that people could transact with money. It's actually deflationary in the way that its code's written and how it operates. And that started just to fill the holes that Bitcoin didn't have. But around, I think in the next 6 months is when everyone's going to call their friends. They're going to be like, I bought this Shiba, I bought this thing, it's going to the moon. Like, all of this stuff happens all the time. And I always tell people, I'm like, you do need to be prepared. One day it could very well just be Bitcoin only and none of this other shit. Very well. Like, or it could be 5 of them, and then you'll never see another one again. And they'll put regulations around it and things like that. But if that does happen, just be prepared. People who do have the Bitcoin are going to be the wealthiest people. So there's so many scenarios. You just got to put your risk. It's hard. It's very hard to explain, just like it's hard to explain CrossFit.
Yeah. I didn't know. I just saw you posted about it, and I felt like that was a good way to end the podcast today.
Yeah, people are gonna be, that guy's fucking nuts.
Yeah, like, hey, we talked about fitness, now let's talk about Bitcoin.
You do the same thing. I mean, you've done similar things where like you need to be challenged, and when you die, it's like, how much do you know okay, of course, let's not say like with people, right? Of course, when you die, it's like how many people will be at your funeral and care, but also how useful of a human being were you? Like, what
Yeah.
what were you a master in? What did you try to master and fail? But at least you got from basic to whatever. Like, being a beginner is the most fun thing to do in the whole entire world. It's an honor.
Yeah.
And be a beginner in anything that interests you, give it a try.
Yeah. I'm a beginner in podcasting right now. This is like
Sweet.
this is day 4. Yeah. So.
Oh, so it just started.
Well, yeah, like a week ago.
Yeah, nice. I mean, it looks good. It's got a good mic. This is normally, if I'm on a podcast, it's on this platform, StreamYard. So
yeah, someone told me about it. Another guy at the gym with a podcast. So I said, all right, I'll try that. So,
amen. Sweet.
All right. Well, I appreciate you coming on. Maybe I'll bring your wife on or something.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, talk about just being a mom only. That would be it right now.
Yeah,
but actually, she just started.
I won't talk to her about Bitcoin.
No, she just started. She gets so many people who oh, it's so funny. I just pulled it up. Yeah. That's her new Instagram, Constantly Random Fitness.
I saw that.
Because so she used to write our programming for 2-3 years and did a great job because we've been through so many things. And she'd post workouts and she gets so many people requesting her, say, hey, thank you, let me screenshot. So she wanted to do something that is like very anti-influencer and just be like, don't like the workout. Like, don't like just fucking do it, because people ask all the time. So yeah, that was something. Some of my workouts are on there. I'd say it's probably 70-30. I'll probably give her 30 that will go on there, and she'll program 70. But very similar to the way we train.
What was that thing that she created like 2 weeks ago? It was something stupid, like a burpee and a thruster and a step up or something.
Oh yeah, that was one of mine. What was that one?
I tried to save it. So now that people at my gym can know it's coming.
Yep. That was a burpee. Hold on. Now we gotta go. It's a devil's press, thruster, step up one leg, step up the other leg.
Yeah, and that's
a rep. That's one. You do 5. I think I did that workout. I did my version was 5 of the Big Show, called it the Big Show Complex. And it was 10 rounds, 20 cal echo, 5 of the Big Show. God, that was terrible.
20 calories on the echo?
Yeah, but I'm bigger. It's just like sometimes the volume of erg stuff I do is just that's a whole other thing. Yeah, I mean, 12 would be about this. I'd say it's similar. Yeah. But the Big Show, that'll get the heart rate up.
Cool. Well, I appreciate you coming on. I'll let you get to your next appointment. So,
all right, brother.
We'll talk to you soon. See ya.
See ya.